we're back at the discussion series again, and today we're going to do a segment by request from Bob Wintenberg out in Oriental, North Carolina. This is going to be about maintenance, all right? It's the start of the season for those folks out there. We want to talk about some of the things that you could and should be doing before that dinghy goes in the water for the season. But before I get into that, I just want to say how sorry I am about the collapse of the Key Bridge. I am not a bridge lover by any stretch of the imagination. I have my escape plan every time I'm driving over one, and I had just gotten to the point that I could drive over that bridge with ease and take advantage, take the time to check out the beautiful vistas on either side of me. So I'm very sorry for the families who have lost folks in that accident. I'm sorry for the damage it's going to cause the maritime industry for a period of time here, but Baltimoreans are very resilient, so I'm wishing them all the best. All right, let's get into this. So let's say the dinghy's been stored in your garage or shed all winter, and you're so excited, it's a nice warm day, you want to put the boat in the water and go. Don't do that. Don't say, well, we'll clean it another day. What you should do is get the boat out, give it a good wash. What should you wash it with? Well, you can use Palmolive, you can use Dawn, you can use any inflatable boat cleaner, but you want to stay away from, I'm going to give you a list of some of the contraindicated materials that I see people touting all the time. Bleach, muriatic acid, magic erasers, anything that's caustic. Even, I love Barkeeper's Friend for my sinks and showers and stuff like that, but that stuff does not belong on your tubes. And you may say, well, why? You know, I've used this stuff before and it's gotten the boat really clean. Yeah, maybe it did, but you've also removed a micro layer of fabric each and every time you do that. So now you're making that fabric a bit more dry, a bit more porous. So in the case of Hypalon, you know, we've got our 3 layers there. We've got our colored layer of fabric. We have our scrim, which is the gauzy stuff underneath. And then we have the neoprene. So the faster you wear through those 3 layers, the faster you're going to have leaks and other damage on the vessel. So please, no household products other than those 2 dish detergents that I mentioned. How should you be cleaning? Well, you could take white terry cloth shop towels. I know you've heard me talk about these towels a gazillion times. You can use those. You can use a sponge. You can use a scrub brush. Just try to be nice to those tubes. If you've neglected the cleaning for a number of seasons and these moldy, mildewy spots and the filth and the slime just isn't coming off, then contact a reputable boat repair center, and they'll take some extra measures without damaging your fabric. And then what all of us, you, me, want to do when we're finished is apply the UV protectant. As soon as that boat's dry, go ahead and start with your, I recommend the 303 aerospace protectant, but whatever it is you're using, use that. Aurora Polyguard is a favorite of some of my customers as well. Doesn't matter what you're doing, just do it. All right, so that's the start of things. We got the boat nice and clean. Now we can see if there are issues. Maybe some of those spots appeared to be just dirt and grime, but no, they're actually worn spots in the fabric. We want to know, are they leaking? Could they become leaks in the future? So you don't need me to perform the inspection on your boat. You can do this all on your own, kind of try to identify the issues, and then we can move forward and see how are we going to tackle those? How are we going to remedy those problems? So inspection-wise, we're going to take a spray bottle, put your water in there, and add a bit of Palmolive. I recommend the Palmolive. It's not quite as thick as Dawn. For me, it's very easy to spot the leaks. What we're trying to do is come out with a fairly light mist. So I typically stand maybe about a foot away from the boat. And I have my routines, so I start at the port cone. And I start spraying every inch of those tubes, top, bottom, seams, the accessories. Now the accessories themselves aren't going to leak, right? But oftentimes after suffering inflation deflation all winter long, the tubes have deflated and the accessories might be chafing the tube fabric right next to those. And now we may have leaks. So we're going to look for, obviously, the leaks. Going to look for worn fabric. When we have worn fabric from the rub rail up to the inside of the boat, we want to pay attention to that. Because once that boat gets out in the sun, we're drying that now. So if we've removed a little bit of the colored layer, the scrim is exposed. That's like taking a piece of gauze out in the sun and letting it, stretching it and letting it sit. It's going to dry out. Those holes, so to speak, in that fabric will become larger and then allow the sun to get through to the neoprene. And then we really have problems because we need something good to patch to. All right, so let's say we're about to start our inspection. We need to pump the boat up to spec pressure. We do that from aft to forward. Don't get lazy and just go to the next valve in line. Go pump one of the aft chambers, go to the other one. Jack it up to spec. If you don't have a gauge, don't stress out about that. Just make sure those are drum tight, where you can punch the tube and your fist is bouncing back at you. No squishiness there. Keep moving forward until you've filled all those chambers to spec. You're going to take your bottle with a little bit of the dish soap in there, spray every inch, top, bottom, seams, accessories, valves, everything. Look for those leaks, look for those worn areas, look for detached accessories, whether those be transom holders, oar locks, seat mounts, grab handles, hog straps, whatever. You want to find those, make note of those. All right, so there are a lot of minor issues that you don't need to head to a repair shop to have handled for you. We also have temporary repair tutorials for those small things, something that you can do in the case of an emergency, or you're in the Bahamas and you don't have access to the proper materials, nor can you perform these repairs in accordance with the proper procedures. You don't have climate control. Okay, so you can check out the YouTube page for those safe temporary repair tutorials, but we'll move on because all of this information can be located elsewhere when you're ready. All right, let's say we find some leaks. Do we have good fabric to patch to around those? If we do, great, get it to a reputable repair shop. You may be saying that it's no problem for you to prep the fabric and go ahead and slap something on. You bought a can of adhesive from West Marine or somewhere 3 seasons ago, and you've got the fabric with you. And it's not the way this works, okay? So when I say, for the love of Mother Earth, don't DIY it, I say it for a reason. Because when you folks are using adhesive that's beyond its shelf life, or you're performing these repairs in a non-climate controlled environment, or you have the incorrect adhesive, you bought Hypalon adhesive for a PVC boat, or you have PVC fabric that you're trying to put on a Hypalon boat, all of these things are causes for your DIY failures. And once you fail one time and get frustrated enough to say, well, all right, I got this patch, it didn't work, let me just slap another and another and another, and before you know it, you have 18 patches and not one damn one of them is doing you any good. Now, when you finally cry uncle and get it to a repair shop, they're gonna have a bugger of a time removing your mess without damaging that valuable fabric underneath. So that's why I say, please do not DIY it. All right, so Bob had a few questions about, he says, we usually keep the boat inside, but the tubes are looking like shit. And why is that? Well, we have to have a couple of regular cleanings throughout the season. And you don't need our intense cleaning and UV treatment for that. As mentioned earlier, you folks can handle that all on your own. But the UV treatment is very important. And so in Bob's case, it's highly possible that he and I never discussed the UV treatment until a few seasons ago. And he might have had the boat for 15 years. I don't know. The sooner that you start that regimen after purchasing a boat, even if it's not new, it's just new to you, the better off you're going to be, because that treatment actually blocks those moldy, mildewy spots. It's blocking the UV degradation from being able to really take hold on the boat. So you'll find that as time goes by, it's a lot easier to clean that boat if you've been following the UV treatment regimen. I would say in Bob's case, if he's got spots that just aren't coming out with either the dish soaps or an inflatable boat cleaner, then it might be time to get the intense cleaning and UV treatment done. Get it done one time. It's all sealed up now. It'll be easy for him to keep clean in the future. Are there times that I can't give you drastic results? Yes, absolutely. If you go and touch the tubes of your boat and your hand comes away all chalky, that's the first sign of UV damage. And that means the tubes have been drying out. The moldy, mildewy spots or any filth would have had a chance to settle in, because we're not conditioning that. We're not making nice on the top. So look at, let me try to give you a decent example. My big fat face, for example. I am a Florida girl and I am a lover of sunshine. So I'm only 49. I've got wrinkles up the wazoo. Why is that? Well, sure, it's partially due to the sun, but it's also because I don't wear sunscreen. I did not go through my teen years with some fantastic facial routine that I would do and constant moisturizing or anything like that. So I'm stuck with what I've got. And I've earned a lot of these, so I don't worry about them too much. But you need to worry about that stuff when you've got the dinghy and you're preparing, let's say, to go to the Bahamas. You don't want to have issues out there because, again, a lot of the correct supplies aren't easy to come by when you're there. So we talked about our inspections, the initial cleaning, UV treatment, finding these issues. There are a lot of minor issues that you may spot that you don't need to run to a shop for. Let's just say you got a detached handle. It's just slightly detached. It's bothering you, yes, but do you need to rush in and make an appointment to have that, removed, cleaned, prepped, and re-glued? No. In that instance, I'd say, wait a while. You got some areas of detached rub rail. Well, that's not good because water can get in there and attack the rest of the adhesive. But it's also not the end of the world, not something you need to deal with immediately. So when folks call to make an appointment with me, I often interrogate them about what issues they know they have. Because if we can put off some of this stuff for a little while until maybe you put a leak in the boat and now we have the floppy oar lock and the grab handle and things like that to deal with. We just handle it all at once. The things that I would tell you are must-dos, though, if you encounter these upon your inspection, would be to deal with if the transom holders are detached from the tubes. That's a big safety issue. If you have fabric surrounding the transom that is detached and you get moisture in there, if the tube to hole strips are detached, those are the times to stop what you're doing, make that call, get yourselves an appointment, get the work performed correctly the first time without damaging your fabric. I hope this helps, but if there's anything that I have missed, please feel free to call, text, email, or Facebook message me, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. Happy boating!